I hate to be different, but I hate to be normal.
I hate to be different. Yeah.
Maybe that's a great way to sum up how most of us feel most of the time. It's good.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris.
And I'm Brett.
And welcome back to another Pastor Reacts NF. We're staying on that journey.
Staying on the journey, yeah. It's been very rewarding. And we're starting to make videos that respond to the journey as well on other levels.
So be sure to check those out. And then this week, I've got a good one for you. This is kind of the sequel to the one we watched last week. So remember he's in the shopping cart with
the
balloons,
black balloons.
The search.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so this is kind of him kind of following up with that. This one may be one of the coolest settings. Like I know, like
the last setting was cool. I will say that. I mean, in the mountains and all that with the shopping cart was nice.
This one, it could be a good horror movie. I don't know. This one.
Really?
It's not like the video itself isn't scary, but the setting is a really cool setting. I like this setting quite a bit.
Okay. So was this off the same album?
Yes. So this is the Search album. This is again, like I think the album that kind of took him to the next level. Like, I mean, I know he had some stuff that went mainstream before this, but this was kind of the album. Actually, this album came out the same day as Chance the Rapper. Have you heard of Chance the Rapper?
Oh, who hasn't?
But Chance the Rapper is a secular rapper or whatever, but they had an album the same day, and NF beat him. NF was the number one album that day, and so there were people that were mad, and then NF responded.
People that were mad. Was this Chance guy mad? Or?
I don't think Chance cared, but like there was a Rolling Stone article that came out about, and actually he responded to that in another video. We'll watch that later. So this album came out and kind of took the world by storm because again, he kind of does a lot of stuff independently. Like he doesn't do a lot of interviews, all this stuff. And so when this album just came out of nowhere, people were like, who is this? They were kind of mad, but it's like NF fan base. Shout out to our NF fans.
Like they're expanding and growing.
Well, yeah.
This would have been what year roughly? You think?
This was 2019.
2019. Okay.
No, wait, that was Clouds.
Oh, okay.
No, 2019. Okay. Sorry, Clouds was 2021.
Yeah,
so 2019. So right before the pandemic.
But this is kind of we've seen the one with the black balloons, and this is kind of a sequel. They're joined together though. It's continuing a story.
Yes.
Okay.
So most of his music videos do continue the story. So this is Leave Me Alone, NF. Let's get into it.
Leave Me Alone. All right. Could be a.
I've not listened to this in a while, so I'm excited.
I'm glad the grocery cart made a return. At least I think that's what that is.
Hey! Panic stricken.
Oh, there it is.
Handle business, not a joke. Yeah, manners missing. Travel different, no control. Yeah, time to listen. Time to zip it, keep it close. My description, highly gifted, take some notes. Yeah, lack of interest. Why'd you visit? Hit the road. Yeah, I'm kinda twisted, so keep your distance, be a ghost. Yeah, see, I'm inventive, but quite the menace. You ain't know? Well, then I'm offended. Let's jog your memories, here we go. Yeah, I went from nobody to kinda famous. Hide my plaques inside a closet, I just can't explain it. My wife, she tells me that she's proud and thinks that I should hang them. But I just leave them on the ground right next to my self-hatred. Yeah, mental health.
Oh, man.
There it is. That's what you can rely on there.
I leave him. Yeah, he's like
that. Oh, he did say wife too, by the way. Right.
Yeah, so he's this album. This might have been the first time he was
married.
When he made an album. So not the first time he was married. He's only has one wife. But yeah, I had my plaques inside a closet. I just can't explain it. It's just he's proud of me, thinks I should hang him, but he's like, I'll just put him on the ground right next to my self-hatred.
But that's what I was laughing at. I was like, I guess you shouldn't laugh at that, but
right. But it's that constant like burden and stuff. And he said I went from nobody to kind of famous. Like so this album, I think he's kind of wrestling with, okay, who am I now that people recognize me, and now like people are showing up at his shows more, and he's been played on mainstream radio, and so he's reaching more mainstream, and then this album kind of put him even over the top on that, and so, but it's kind of still that inner struggle of like, okay, I'm famous now, but I still have this self-hatred. This hasn't made me what I thought it was going to do. Or,
wherever you go, you take yourself with you. So it would be a really, really fascinating thing. I've never had this happen, but going from obscure to famous and people are starting to watch and scrutinize, it probably in some ways makes whatever struggle you're going through a little bit worse because of that. A lot more eyeballs are on you and people care and they analyze what you say more and all that sort of stuff.
Well, and I mean, even with these reaction videos, we've seen that a little bit. Most of the NF fans, you guys are awesome. But every once in a while you have some people say, wow, like, I mean, our first one, when you didn't listen to the lyrics, people were very angry at you for that.
I don't think I've ever been forgiven for it.
But that's one of the things, like, we've seen it on a small scale. I mean, we have,
Sure, yeah. You put
thousands
yourself
of
out
views.
there, and that is a lesson. You put yourself out there, you're going to take incoming fire. I mean, you just are, and that's just part of it. And I've grown a lot since then by listening to the lyrics.
I think you
caught
have.
on.
But this setting, it's this abandoned theme park. I don't know if you've been watching the background. There's the people in the white coats and all this stuff.
I haven't because I'm too busy reading the lyrics.
Yeah, you gotta focus on all of it.
But I like the makeup on the face too thing, the little Joker thing he's got going on there.
Yeah.
Me that she's proud and thinks that I should hang him, but I just leave him on the ground right next to my self-hatred. Yeah, mental health. Where's my mental health? Diagnosed with OCD, what does that mean? We'll gather around. That means I obsessively obsess on things I think about. That means I might take a normal thought and think it's so profound. Ruminating, the balloons are full of doubts.
That was a good definition, though. That was a great definition of. I like the mental health theme. I mean, obviously that's kind of a shtick, but this one dresses it more. But that's a great. If you ever wonder what OCD is, there's probably a best definition instead of just going to the dictionary.
I obsessively obsess on things I think about.
And I take a normal thought and I think it's so profound.
Yeah.
That's the part I like. Okay, well, I've been there before. I don't know if I'm OCD or not, but.
But ruminating fill balloons up full of doubt, and so again, his doubts the balloons are his burdens, and so like the burdens are his doubts of like, should I even be doing this? Is this like? And now I think this is when he got diagnosed with OCD, and so he's got all this other stuff that's going on in his life that makes good music. Like, I mean, it makes it for like, this is why people like him, because it's real. He's like, hey, here's what I'm dealing with in my life. Like, I just got diagnosed with OCD, and this is what
and he incorporates it into a song.
Yeah, and so.
Think it's so profound, ruminating. Fill balloons are full of doubts, do the same things. If I don't, I'm overwhelmed. Thoughts are pacing, they go round and round and round. It's so draining. Let's move on to something else. Fine, running the game if they don't even know it. Like I'm undercover and know when to blow it. They come out and know it, they don't even notice. The flow is so cold you would think it was snowing. I'm under the weather, but wind isn't blowing. I got an umbrella for difficult moments. You gotta admit it, I'm very devoted. I'm out in the rain, but it don't always alright. Hold up my balloons and
See, I love fast flow. Like, this is why I love NF. And so just
to me, I enjoy it in the sense that it helps me to kind of see where that's a talent. I mean, not just everybody could do that in a way but also not just everyone can hear what's going on either.
Right. That's why I have the lyrics up here.
Okay. If we didn't have the lyrics up there, I'd be lost.
So he said, I'm under the weather, but wind isn't blowing. I've got an umbrella for difficult moments. So kind of like, I've got something to protect me during those difficult moments. But then he says, I'm out in the rain, but it don't always open. So it's like, I've got an umbrella to kind of protect me from like to the tough things in life, but I don't always open it. And so I don't know if he's referring to his faith there, because he kind of has that battle a lot with like, I have my faith, but I don't always put it out there. I don't always open it, or don't always go to the Lord when things are going crazy.
Now, again, I know I've asked this before, but I'm kind of trying to follow, since it is a journey, I'm trying to track where the audience is coming from. This is more breakout. Was this considered crossover? Was he originally considered more of a, I get his stuff at a Christian bookstore kind of guy?
Yes.
Okay.
So at the very beginning, like his Moments album was very much Christian album. And then as he got, I don't want to say more popular, but as things progressed, I think he was kind of like, hey, if I just sing about these Christian things and all this stuff, one, I'm not going to reach people that are hurting and all that kind of stuff. Not that Christians aren't hurting, but I can reach a wider audience if I'm just real about my struggles. And so that's why it was one of the albums, like one of the videos we watched, it had the quote of a tweet or something like, hey, I'm going to like go to your house and murder your family or something like. And so when he kind of put himself out there more, a lot of Christians like push back and were like, you can't sing about these things. Like, we need you to sing about Jesus.
That's
and so I think
a subject all to itself.
Yes. And so, because he said we can't play my music at church or whatever. And so there was like this backlash of, and I don't think it was a Christian that said, I'm going to come to your house and murder your family, but it was this kind of idea of like, he's saying things that are violent and talking about real
but
things.
He was talking about it. But now, was this one, and forgive me, was this one kind of when he broke out into another realm, this was the one that got some of those reactions, like from the Christian world?
Well, no,
like, hey, you're talking about it being OCD, and that
was some of his earlier stuff was that, because he was kind of in that weird world of, he's a Christian artist, but his music isn't blatantly Christian. Like, he's not singing about Bible verses and things like that. And so you had this church audience, it's like, well, you're supposed to be Christian because your last album talked about Jesus more and all this stuff. And then like, I mean, he talks about praying, he talks about his faith in these things, and in interviews, the few that he does, but it's also like, so now it's more like, hey, these are the hard things in life that I deal with. And he'll talk about his faith in there and weaves that in. But a lot of times it was just, it's not blatantly Christian. So you kind of had this weird line of people like, well, I don't think he's Christian, so I don't know if I can listen to him. And then, well, he doesn't cuss, so that makes him Christian.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So,
by the way, we also have a video on that, is why is some Christian art not very good. And we address some of that stuff. So keep that in mind. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Hold up my balloons and cover up my face. I can feel them weighing on me every day. I should let them go and watch them float away. But I'm scared if I do, then I'll be more afraid. Tell them how I feel, but they don't want to change. Tell them how I feel, but they remain the same. Loosen up my grip, they say that's not okay. Quiet, 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 quiet. Hey, leave me alone.
Okay, sorry, before we get into leave me alone. So I think these people are getting up there and they have that smile painted on their face and then they wipe it off. Like so I think they're maybe getting the help that they need, but they're all in white. And so I think it's like he's seeing people change, and so he paints this smile on his face. And he used to do that at shows, but I think the Hope album, he stopped doing that. I think he doesn't do that on stage anymore. But it was kind of this like, hey, I'm supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to have this happy
But
face
is that his commentary on the, especially with the white on, is that his commentary on sort of the modern approach to mental illness issues? Is that a thing? Like is he saying that people are getting kind of medicated help or?
Oh, I don't know if it's medicated. I think he's saying that he sees like there's people changing and stuff, but he's like, I'm not there yet. Like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to loosen up my grip. Yeah. So tell me how I feel, but they remain the same. And so, let's see.
There was something he said that kind of caught me because I experienced this a little bit myself, is that if I give up my fears, if I'm scared to do it, then I'll be more afraid. And I kind of connected with that one.
Yeah.
Just sometimes that you feel like your fear or anxiety is a way of hanging on to control.
Yes.
If you will. One example is I'm a white knuckle flyer. I've flown all over the world, but every time I do it, it's very scary. But it's like I'll let myself not be afraid, but somehow I think, the second I'm not afraid, that's when we're going to go down. Like my fear is holding the plane there or something. There's this weird rationale that happens, but I think there's a larger thing like that can happen in life. It's almost like as long as I feel afraid, I'm controlling things somehow. But that's what that said to me whenever he said it. So maybe that's something going on that way.
And so he's saying like, hold up my balloons, cover up my face. Like he's got that smile painted on, but I can feel them weighing on me every day. And he says, I should let him go and watch him float away. So he's like, I know I should get rid of this stuff. And I think that's what he sees other people that are, because they've got their balloons, they're walking in and getting the smile, like this fake smile off of their face so they can be who they really are. Right. And so I think he's kind of struggling with, okay, I've got, but
they're getting the smile off their face.
I think so. Yeah,
okay,
I think that's what she's wiping off.
So it's got the little smile thing.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm scared if I do, then I'll be more afraid. So like and that's, I mean, he talks about that in the Happy song on the Hope album. He's like, who would I be if I was happy? Like I'm scared to let go of this persona because this is who he is, and this is who he is as an artist, and this is how he's gotten popularity.
Yeah, the irony is I made my success off of having my mental issues. So if they go away,
who would I be if I was happy?
Who will I be if I'm that? That's interesting.
So, all right.
Tell them how I feel, but they don't.
Oh yeah, they are. Okay, that's pretty clear.
Tell them how I feel, but
so he's trying to wipe it off on his own.
Right.
Loosen up my grip, they say that's not okay. Quiet, 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 quiet. Hey, leave me alone. Hey, yeah. Quiet, 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 quiet. Yeah, leave me alone. Yeah. Quiet, 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 quiet. Yeah, leave me alone. I hate when they debate if we're underrated. We're so overlooked that they're looking over our numbers, Nathan. We don't do enough interviews or go out in public lately. We don't post enough on our socials to keep the buzz from fading. Let it fade, yeah, let it fade. Once it's decimated, then you drop a song out of nowhere and all the fans embrace it. Then the buzz will surface again. It's part of my operation. I don't need advice from my doubts right now. End of conversation.
I don't need advice from my doubts right now. Oh, that's great. That's
but yeah,
right there.
So he's like, the social media stuff, because I don't know, being this famous, like it's a hard balance, right? Because you're like, okay, I have to do these things to keep in the buzz. I have to win the news cycle. I have to do all this stuff to stay in the limelight. He's like, let it fade. And he's like, but then you drop a song out of nowhere and all the fans embrace it. He's like, I know my fan base. I know that when he could be silent for 2 years. Like, I don't do enough interviews. I don't post enough on social, all that stuff. He's like, I don't care. Because when I drop a song, I know it's going to
Well, honestly, that shows he's a lot healthier than maybe he gives himself credit for, that he has that instinct, because others would be just the opposite. That's why they're giving that advice. It's like, you can't let that momentum go away. And
yeah.
I've had miniature versions of that in my own life, and it's a stupid way to be, honestly. You got to try to keep things going or whatever else.
But I think the YouTube world has kind of shown me that, at least because we have a weekly podcast on our other channel that you can check out. But it's that, like, okay, if we miss a week, are we going to lose our momentum and all this stuff? And it's like, I have to keep doing these things because otherwise I'll fade into obscurity. And he's like, yeah.
You think that way?
I do. I do let this stuff get in my head. No, quite a bit, because I'm like, as soon as I put something out, I'm like, okay, how many views did it get? How many?
Oh, dude, that is a church growth thing. We've experienced growth and all that, and we've also experienced not, and it's hard to figure out, how to do that. And you do think that if you ease up, you'll kind of lose that, and you feel like you're chasing your tail sometimes. That's hard.
And so here he is, like, kind of preaching to this
coaching. Yeah, that's right.
This group of kids, or not kids, but people, like, hey, I don't know. Some of the imagery I don't get. So if you know what it means, put it in the comments. I love that point.
Yeah, the point was good. That was my favorite line.
True. I'm kinda funny, but don't really show it. I keep it together, but have a disorder. I go to my room and I sit in my corner and talk to myself in a language that's foreign. I think of a rhyme and I have to record it, but no, if I don't, I wake up in the morning and question my life again, always avoiding. I hate to be different, but I hate to be normal, so I hold up my balloons and
I hate to be different, but I hate to be normal.
I hate to be different. Yeah,
man, that's a great way to sum up how most of us feel most of the time. It's good,
right? And working with students, I mean, that's.
Right.
It's like, I want to be different, but not that different.
Yeah, and there is a way to be different in the world, but there's some ways you're not allowed to be different at all.
Right. And so, but I mean, that whole...
And that never goes away even after you're a student. You just it goes to the background a little bit.
Yeah. I think of a rhyme, I have to record it. Like, I mean, his work ethic is very much like, because he obsesses over it. He's like, okay, I hear something, I've got to go record this right now, or forget it, or I'm going to fade out, or all this stuff. And so... It's tough. When I have to record it, but no, if I don't, I wake up in the morning and question my life again, always avoiding. I hate to be different, but I hate to be normal, so I hold up my balloons and cover up my face. I can feel them weighing on me every day. I should let them go and watch them float away, but I'm scared if I do, then I'll be more afraid. Tell them how I feel, but they don't want to change. Tell them how I feel, but they remain the same. So that's they're taking off the black clothes, kind of and putting on the white, which he doesn't do in this album, but the next one.
Aha. So there you go.
So, but
love the symbolism there.
And you, because you asked last time, like, did he plan all this out? I don't know. I mean, people in the comments said, yes, he has planned all this out, but you're like, well, some of it he can't plan out, because he didn't know how he was going to react when he had his first kid. Like, he didn't know.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. He didn't know that he was even going to have hope based upon, unless he did, and then he kind of reversed. But and even the fame, he talks about the fame thing here. Did he know this was going to be the breakout album? He was going to be reacting to fame. There's a lot of things he couldn't have known.
Because the last album was the song, How Can You Leave Us? What was the song? I don't know. We did it, Let You Down? Yeah, so Let You Down. And that was the one that broke out.
Another person.
Yeah, that's our producer. No, but the Let You Down thing, that was when he went like super mainstream. Like that's when, so this album, so he started getting that fame. But yeah, so he didn't know how this album was going to do when he put it out. But he's like, okay, based on what's my trajectory.
So maybe he had a basic outline of some sort that he could tie together. But
yeah, and so, but I mean, that would be, but that wouldn't be real though. If he's like, I know that I'm going to like act like I'm depressed and then get better, and then people are like, oh, that's great.
Exactly.
Like
now I'm better.
Yeah,
I have hope. Yeah.
That wouldn't be real.
Yeah, wait a minute.
And that's why the Hope album was so shocking to me, because a lot of it was like him still struggling with stuff, but like from a different perspective now. And so, because I was expected to be all, because the song Happy, I was like, oh, this is going to be his breakout. He's like, choir and birds and all this stuff. It's going to be great.
Right.
And then him whistling or whatever. But it's like, oh no, this is actually really sad. And so I don't know who I'd be if I was happy. I was like, oh, he's still wrestling with this stuff. But okay.
Loosen up my grip, they say that's not okay. Quiet, 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 quiet. Hey, leave me alone. Hey, yeah. Quiet, 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 quiet. Yeah, leave me alone. Yeah. Quiet, 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 quiet. Yeah, leave me alone. Remember back in No Name, I said fame called. Told you I hung up, it kinda felt wrong. Finally called him back, we didn't talk long. He asked me how I'd been, I sent him this song. Yeah, think he took offense, he kinda seemed off. I texted him that night to ask what he thought. It took a couple days to get a response, but once I finally did, he said the song sucks. Feel the symptoms, couldn't miss him, wrestle with them.
You laugh a lot of it. Like,
well, sorry, some of those lines are funny. As he said, the song sucked. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
like that. I like the honesty.
getting choked up.
Yeah.
So so I think this part is him talking to himself. Remember back?
Yeah.
I said Fame called. Oh, yeah. So he's talking to Fame. I told you I hung up. It kind of felt wrong. So he's like, yeah, I don't care about Fame and stuff. And he asked me how I've been. I sent him this song, and he's like, yeah, this song sucks. That's pretty funny. But it says it took him a couple days to respond. So it's like, I think it's that wrestling with, okay, I'm famous now, but what does that mean? Like, how does that? He's
Right.
like,
Does that give value? And
Yeah.
if I think the art itself that even made me famous really wasn't that good or wasn't my best work, then does that count?
Yeah.
And that's an interesting question. Just because crowds like something, it doesn't mean it's truly good. It just means they liked it,
yeah.
which is an interesting.
What was the second song we reacted to on the Hope album? It was the one, yeah, it was the one where he's at the
Hope Part
Oscars
2.
or whatever kind of thing, where he's on the what? Motto. That was it.
We broke it up there.
I like that. Yeah, that voice over there. Yeah, Motto. So on that one, like that's the one where he talks about. He's like, I don't care anymore. Like, so you kind of see the switch from this of like, I need that fame, I need that recognition, or I'm wrestling with it, and then Motto, he's like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
But you can't say you don't care until you reach that point, though.
Yeah, and
that's the paradox. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to say he doesn't care if only 4 people are listening. He's going to care. And
Right.
then 4 million people listen. Oh, now I don't care anymore. So that's it.
Well, and that's why I
I don't
appreciate
think
his
there's any way off that train.
his struggle on this, because he does talk about that. Like, I mean,
At least he does talk about the
on this
struggle,
album.
yeah.
He makes a response to one article from Rolling Stone because this guy roasted him on the Rolling Stone thing, and he wrote a whole song about it because he internalizes all that. And so,
Well, yeah, that.
that'll come up sometime. We'll watch that one.
Oh
It's
yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
good.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Of course,
All right.
Rolling Stone. No, come on.
Rolling
We got a
Stone, if
whole
you're listening,
hobby horse on that bit. We could do a thing on that. My reaction, Rolling Stone.
He said the song sucks, feel the symptoms, couldn't miss them, wrestle with them, then I pin and flip them. Brought them back up nowhere, you should get some, who you dissing? Mood is switching, don't come in the kitchen, you should listen. Cooking record from my hands are blistering. So persistent, don't forget this, hold attention, soul is bending, no pretending, open-ended, low percentage, so demented, whole consensus, flow tremendous, no apprentice, no incentive, show intensive, so possessive, tone aggressive, watch your step when
There's a lot there.
yeah. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I was just, I mean, just on a pure raw music level, I like that run that he just did. I
Yeah.
will say that. I mean, that was kind of a cool
Because the syncopation,
little thing. Yeah, I don't know what any of it meant, but I
open-ended,
know I
no
like the whole thing strung together there.
it's cooking records. His hands are blistering.
Cooking records,
So
fingers
persistent.
listening. Yeah, I was trying to follow him, but
Soul's been in no pretend, open-ended, low percentage, so demented. I don't know what low percentage means, but yeah, it's flow tremendous. But like he just, I don't know. Yeah, that run. I know you have trouble with rap music sometimes, but like this is the stuff that
secret's out.
no, but you like more
Sure,
of
yeah.
the rock
Like,
and
yeah.
Led Zeppelin, old guy stuff. But
Old guy stuff. Yeah.
No,
sorry, 60s, 70s, and 80s was the top, and everything went down.
I agree. I do like all that stuff.
Right.
But I like this, yeah, because runs like that where it's like this kind of rhyme and rhythm. He's like rhyming within the scheme. Like it's good stuff. So all right.
so possessive, tone aggressive, watch your step when hold up my balloons and cover up my face. I can feel them weighing on me every day. I should let them go and watch them float away. But I'm scared if I do, then I'll be more afraid. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yeah. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yeah. Leave me alone. leave me alone. Yeah, leave me alone. Yeah, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Hey, leave me alone. Hey, yeah, quiet, 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 quiet. Yeah, leave me alone. Yeah, quiet, 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 quiet. Yeah, leave me alone. Hey, yeah, quiet, 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 quiet. Yeah, leave me alone. Yeah, quiet, 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 quiet.
That's cool. Okay, that was some really really neat symbolism. But
I get goosebumps. Like I really did. Like I just that part of like the leave me alone.
yeah,
'Cause
that was cool.
Because he's trying, but notice he only takes a few of his burdens. Like he doesn't take the
Oh,
whole.
now that you mention it, that's true. Only a couple of them. He got more. Yeah, that's
And
good.
so it's like I could give up this part, but I'm still going to hold on. And I think that's where the life of Christ is submitting our life to Jesus, like the whole part of it. And I think a lot of us live this way of like, well, I'll give him this part. Like, okay, I can give up this thing, but like I'm gonna hold on to my money. I'm gonna do what I want with that. Like I'm gonna hold on to these things. And so I think again, like the real music, it's like, no, he's like, I'm willing to give up this much, but I'm not gonna give up all of it. Yeah.
And to his credit, just as a note, we kind of addressed this earlier, as an art form, he doesn't say, and Jesus saves, by the way. He
Right.
uses symbol and artistry to get to something that I guarantee you zillions of people relate to, that leave me alone and that burden thing. But he doesn't have to say it overtly. I mean, it's right there, but it's said in a really powerful, interesting way. I've never seen anybody say it with the balloons and all that. That's a cool lesson in just how art functions.
Yeah, and actually, we talk about that on the podcast, the World You Find Her podcast. So check that out. It's coming out.
I do need to check it out.
Yeah, it's coming out next Wednesday. But we talk about
great. Good.
art versus Christian art, of why symbolism is better than just blatantly saying.
Yeah, I
like,
did a thing on that too. Wow, that's right. I wonder who's better. No,
probably.
Yeah, you should go check theirs out. It's a dialogue rather than.
So I think this is the end. But there might be sometimes there's hidden stuff at the end, at the last little. Oh no, that's it. So
Leave me alone. Was this a huge hit?
yeah.
The song itself. I know the album was, but it was the song itself.
This one has
because I would think a lot of people would relate to the
9.41 million views.
Yeah, okay,
so.
it's a bigger hit than any of my sermons.
Than anything we've done. But no, hey, thanks for listening. Check
thanks
out
a
some
lot.
of the content that you talk about your NF journey and what that's meant for faith and all that stuff. And so check those out, and we'll see you next time.